A Republican congressman just introduced a new constitutional amendment to allow Donald Trump to serve for a third term.
Donald Trump's talking about a third term again.
In an interview with NBC this weekend, he said that he is not joking about running for a third term, and that there are methods to go around the Constitution which currently prohibits more than 2 terms.
If Donald Trump is allowed to run for a third term under the Republican ticket, I think Obama should be allowed to run for a third term under the Democratic ticket. What do you guys think? Yes? No? Maybe? I think so. And not in like a get out way, but I will vote for him a third time.
Barack Obama could be our next president. I'm not kidding. This can actually happen.
If that orange crusty blowhole thinks he can run for a third term, then Obama should just throw his hat in the ring. If nothing, just to fuck with him. But I mean, yeah, why not? I mean, he would crush him at the polls. But don't squash my dream. A girl can hope. Let me have it.
In fact, most of the things that the Trumpies like about Trump, Obama did better. We'll go with unemployment. Obama did better. Economy. Obama did better. Deportations. Obama did better. Obama was able to get across a health care bill. Trump can't. Obama did it better. Obama was able to get tax cuts for the low and middle class. Trump for the upper class, for the rich. Obama did it better.
Y'all keep talking about wanting Trump to run for a third term, not knowing if y'all open up that can of worms, Obama's not gonna have a choice. Michelle's not gonna let him have a choice because all of us motherfuckers are gonna be at his fucking door. Hey, we need you. Bruh. Y'all want Trump to run for a third term? Okay, Obama's his opponent. Obama's his opponent, because I can guarantee you who's gonna win that election. Ain't no fucking fraud or Russia intelligence needed.
Trump has made no secret of the fact that he wants to change the Constitution and run for a third term. But he wouldn't just automatically win if he ran for a third term. He'd have to run against a Democratic challenger. And if the Constitution no longer prohibited a third term, who would the Democrats' best option be? Barack Obama. And a poll was just released that showed this hypothetical matchup, Trump versus Obama. Who do you think won? Unsurprisingly, Obama wins by 6%, which is actually a blowout margin. And if you look closer at the data, Obama does this by 2 things. 1 is by winning independents by about 20%, and 2 is by stealing a bunch of votes from people who voted for Trump in 24 but would vote for Obama in 28. And this all adds up because in 2016, there were between 6 and 9 million people who voted for Obama in 2008 and 2012 and then voted for Trump in 2016. So in my opinion, change the Constitution. Good luck. The best modern-day American president with the highest approval rating of any living president against an 82-year-old Donald Trump. I like our chances.
I genuinely miss Obama being president.
I miss when he was in office and it just felt like we had hope.
Mr. Mark, is President Trump eligible to run for president again in 2028?
Senator, without considering all the facts and looking at everything, depending on what the situation is, this to me strikes as more of a hypothetical of something that could be.
It's not a hypothetical. Has President Trump been elected president twice?
President Trump has been certified the president of the United States 2 times.
Is he eligible to run for a third term under our Constitution?
I would have to review the
All I need to tell you is the language of the constitutional amendment that makes it clear that no, he is not eligible to run for a third term. Anybody else brave enough to say that the Constitution of the United States prevents President Trump from seeking a third term? Anybody willing to apply the Constitution by its plain language in the 22nd Amendment? Nobody.
Trump versus Obama. 2028. Watch this.
There's this other story. I know it's hypothetical right now.
Okay.
But if you were allowed for some reason to run for a third term, is there a thought that the Democrats could try to run Barack Obama?
You know they are.
I'd love that.
For his third term.
I'd love that. That
would you say, Trump?
Be a good
You'll
one.
love
like
it, but hey,
no,
he said, come on
people
with
are
it.
asking me to run, and there's a whole story about running for a third term. I don't know. I never looked into it.
I don't know about
say
that.
there's a way you can do it, but I don't know about.
Woo, hey, man, hey, I just want to know, though, if this was able to happen, and damn what he said, because trust me, I promise you, he didn't look into it. But hey, regardless, if this was able to happen, and I already heard rumors that they are trying, Mega's definitely trying to do this, and I heard that the Democrats said, hey, if they do this, we're going to get Obama. But I want to know, if this happened, who do y'all think would win? I mean, I'm just seriously. I mean, I already heard Michelle say she don't want Obama to win again. She don't want him to do it again. She thinks that we should keep getting new brains, new ideas, new people to come in there because the world is changing that much and that fast. I kind of agree with her. But if that was possible, who do you think would win? Let me know in the comments.
Trump obviously doesn't care what the Constitution says about running for a third term because no matter what the issue is, voting rights, birthright citizenship, war, tariffs, Trump never cares about the Constitution.
She says the Constitution gives me certain rights. And I demand that I be given these rights. Get the hell out.
You do not feel like you need guardrails.
No, I don't need guardrails. I don't want guardrails. Guardrails would hurt us. They say it's not constitutional, but I think it would be good.
Don't you need to uphold the Constitution of the United States as president?
I don't know.
You don't know? He doesn't know? Upholding the Constitution was like 90% of your oath of office, okay? And the other 10% was your name. Trump's blatant disregard for the Constitution is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen. And I've seen Rachel Dolezal's OnlyFans. But you don't even need to hear any of that to know he plans to stay in office. All you need to hear is him talking about his big, beautiful ballroom. Do you seriously think he's building that for the next guy? You think he likes J.D. Vance that much? You think he's doing that level of solid for Marco Rubio? No. On January 20th, 2029, Trump is going to go into that ballroom with a stack of hustlers and a crate of Big Macs and lock the door from the inside, okay? But I'm not asking Trump not to run for a third term. Trump's going to Trump. What I'm asking is for the Republican Party to be honest for once and tell us whether or not you want this man to be king, okay? I'm tired of edging dictatorship. I'm getting red, white, and blue balls, people, okay? Waiting to find out if our democracy still matters. And do it soon, because right now America is standing at a fork in the road, and we need to know which path to choose, or if we just stick the fork in us because we're done.
So MAGA is trying to say that Obama said that he'd run for a third term too, to try to justify what Trump did. Let's go back and actually hear what he said, huh?
I was just watching a documentary and I was like cleaning and I just heard at the end Barack Obama started talking and I started sobbing uncontrollably because remember when shit was normal?
I think I finally understand why Donald Trump hates Barack Obama and Michelle Obama so much, and it really has nothing to do with that White House Correspondents' Dinner years ago. It's that America still loves, the world still loves Barack and Michelle Obama. See, last night was an NBA All-Star game and, well, the Obamas were there, the camera panned to them, and the crowd cheered. Everybody stood up. They got a standing ovation to the point that President Obama stood up and waved at the crowd, which led to more cheering. Meanwhile, Donnie Boy Trump shows up at sporting events and half to three-quarters of the crowd boos, to the point that the same media networks have to put clapping and cheering tracks over it to keep his supporters from attempting to boycott them. So, Donald Trump really hates the Obamas because the world still loves them, as the world has always despised him.
As soon as I put them in the room and I turned around, Obama was standing there. And I was like, hey, sir, this is the family of the fallen, and I named them. And he sat down and he let that family cry on his shoulder for a solid 20 minutes. And that doesn't sound like a lot, but 20 minutes of a U.S. president's time one-on-one like that is a lot, right? What I saw was just a human being being compassionate and sympathetic for a family who just had a huge loss. Because there was no cameras in that room. There was nothing there, that he ever,
My daughter was just watching a documentary and I was like cleaning and I just heard at the end Barack Obama started talking and I started sobbing uncontrollably because remember when shit was normal?
Prediction that Trump will run and will have a third term, either as a vice president or in wartime a president can go for a third term. Is this going to be successful, and what can we expect from the midterms?
Yeah, so I think that the powers that be, and they're coming to recognition that for all of Trump's problems, he is a useful idiot. You need a guy like him in order to transition America from a democracy to a technocracy, okay? So all the elite feel this way where, the democracy doesn't really work. If democracy really worked, we wouldn't have Donald Trump as president. and then like not only once but twice. Okay, so in 2016, the elite basically came to the conclusion that we can't really trust the people to vote the way we want them to vote. The people aren't really obedient. Okay, so the solution to this is to create a technocracy where you have an AI god, and where it's an AI surveillance state, and where engineers and bureaucrats and technocrats basically run America to the benefit of the American people, of course, just as they do in China, right? Come to China, look how great things are, right? So they're trying to, basically create China. Like China is the future that they want to emulate.
So
but you need a scapegoat. But you need a scapegoat in order to make this transition happen, right? Who do you blame for destroying democracy? Who do you blame for taking away people's freedoms, including this AI god? You blame Donald Trump, okay? So you put up with him as long as it takes to make this transition from democracy to technocracy. And this is a process that might take 8 years, 10 years, who knows, okay? But it's actually like 2 years. And that's also why Trump is building his ballroom, okay? So I'm not sure if you looked into the ballroom, but it's clearly an AI data center underneath the ballroom that's protected by executive privilege, meaning Congress can never ever ask what's going on underneath the ballroom, okay? So they're basically trying to create God under that ballroom.
Right.
Right? But so you need someone to actually be the scapegoat, to be the tool to make this transition happen, so historians will say, it was this guy, Donald Trump, who destroyed American democracy, right? So that's why I think he'll get a third term.
Trump revealed today that he believes he has had 3 terms as president. He made this post about everybody should take a cognitive test, which is actually just the dementia test. I just made a post about how ridiculous this whole thing, but one thing that's important to note is that he says, I took the exam 3 times during my 3 terms as president. 3 terms as president? What is he thinking? He's not well. I mean, can his kids please step in and do something and take care of the man? Take care of the country?
I have to also say that Africa's democratic progress is also at risk when leaders refuse to step aside when their terms end. Now, let me be honest with you. I do not understand this. I am in my 2nd term. It has been an extraordinary privilege for me to serve as President of the United States. I cannot imagine a greater honor or a more interesting job. I love my work. But under our Constitution, I cannot run again. I can't run again. I actually think I'm a pretty good president. I think if I ran, I could win. But I can't. So there's a lot that I'd like to do to keep America moving, but the law is the law. And no one person is above the law, not even the president.
So I appreciate for watching this far and for the support that you always give this channel, that is the Nick Report, by liking, by commenting and sharing our videos to the wider audience, right? And one thing that I realized by watching this video is that the conversation about Donald Trump running for a 3rd term is completely out of touch with how the regular people live their lives, right? Because when the people in Washington or on the news, right, start obsessing over whether he could somehow bypass the rules to stay in power forever, they are missing the entire mood of the country. The average person isn't sitting around daydreaming about 4 more years of this current administration. There is a massive quiet wave of fatigue rolling across America right now. The reality is people are just tired. They are tired of waking up every single morning to a new headline filled with conflicts, right? Tired of a government that runs on anger and social media feuds. They're tired of the constant non-stop drama, right? But more than anything else, people are tired of being completely crushed financially while being told that everything is great. Now, let's talk about money, because that's where the reality of this government, this current Trump administration actually hits at home. For many years, the big sales pitch from this administration was that They were the champions of the little guy, right? They promised that they were going to look out for the working class, right? The regular taxpayers and the people who punch a clock every day and just want to build a decent life for their families. But if you look at your wallet right now, does it feel like anyone is fighting for you? Look at what's actually happening to everyday prices. We were promised that massive global tariffs would punish other countries and bring manufacturing back. But anyone who has an understanding of how a grocery store works knows exactly what a tariff is. It's a tax on the consumer. When the government slaps a heavy tariff on imported goods, foreign companies don't pay that bill, right? The regular American buying the product pays it at the cash register. So every single time you go down the grocery aisle, every time you buy clothes for your kids, every time you try to repair your car or fix up your home, you're paying a direct premium because of these trade wars. It's a massive, heavy tax on the common citizen, wrapped up in a flag and sold as a victory. And while the regular person is watching their disposable income evaporate just trying to cover the basic everyday goods, look at who is actually winning, right? The economic policies of this administration have consistently cleared the path for the giant corporate monopolies and the ultra wealthy. The tax breaks go up, right? The corporate loopholes stay wide open, and the special interest groups get a free pass, while the middle class and the working poor are left to pick up the entire tab. Americans look back at the Obama era and realize how much they miss just having a grown up in the room, right? They miss a leader who tried to speak to the best in us, right? Who tried to build bridges rather than intentionally tearing the country apart at the seams just to fire up a base. So when the media or the political elites start floating these hypothetical scenarios about a third term, the real response from the vast majority of the American public isn't some deep legal debate about the Constitution. The real response is a loud, tired collective no thanks. We don't need a permanent presidency, right? We don't need an endless cycle of polarization, and we absolutely do not need 4 more years of economic policies that drain the pockets of regular, hardworking people just to feed the systems that protect the elite. The country is full, right? We are full of the division. We're full of the anger. We're full of the empty promises, and the regular American citizens, with the regular American citizens, don't want a king. We don't want a dynasty, right? And we don't want an endless reality TV show running our lives. We want America back, right? We want an economy where a hard day's work actually allows you to pay your bills and save a little money. We want a government that actually respects its citizens instead of treating them like numbers or chess pieces in a political game. And most of all, we want a leader who makes us feel secure and proud, right? Rather than completely stressed out and exhausted. Because the talk of a third term isn't a promise to the American people, it's a threat of more of the same friction and financial strain. And right now, the strongest sentiment in America is that people are simply ready to turn the page, get back to real life, and leave the theater behind. But that's just my 2 cents and my observation on what the reality of the ground really looks like, right? Are you feeling that same exhaustion? Are the daily costs hitting your wallet the same way, right? So drop your thoughts in the comments below and I'll be responding to them in the next hour. Don't forget to subscribe, to like, and share this video to the person, to your friend that is in dire need of it. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.